at these videos coming out of places like Chicago, it makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
We are just getting in Donald Trump, who's speaking after the shooting of these two National Guards in Washington.
An unprecedented reduction in violent crime and crimes of all type. This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. The hearts of all Americans tonight are with those two members of the West Virginia National Guard and their families. The love of our entire country is pouring out for them, and we are lifting them up in our prayers. As we are filled with anguish and grief for those who were shot, we're also filled with righteous anger and ferocious resolve. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that. During this time of the year, when we gather at home with loved ones, These two patriots were wearing the uniform of our country, patrolling the streets of our capital. They had taken a selfless oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that is exactly what they were doing when they were gunned down in a savage attack. I want to express my extraordinary gratitude to every member of the United States military who is deployed tonight at home and abroad. I also want to thank the Secret Service and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for their work today. This Thanksgiving, I ask every family to say a prayer for the two great heroes who were so horribly shot, and for their loved ones. Please say a prayer. May God bless them and comfort them, and may God bless and protect the United States of America. Thank you and good night.
Joining us now is Josh Hammer, Senior Editor-at-Large at Newsweek. Josh, thank you for joining us today. Let's start with this horrific shooting in DC. Two National Guard troops are fighting for their lives after being shot. They were both members of the West Virginia National Guard, and we are starting to learn more about the suspect, the person who is accused of shooting the two National Guard members. That person has been identified as 29-year-old Afghan national Rahmanullah Lakanwal, according to media reports. He allegedly entered the US in 2021 under Joe Biden's Operation Allies Welcome program. Josh, can I get your reaction to this horrific tragedy?
Well, the first thing to note, Gabrielle, is that it is just that. This is a horrific tragedy. It has happened on the eve of what I think most Americans would consider our de facto #1 national holiday. Of course, Independence Day, July 4th, is a major national holiday here where we fly the flag, but Thanksgiving really is the quintessential American holiday. And for this to happen on the eve of Thanksgiving is pretty unconscionable. It is pretty unconscionable on the one hand. On the other hand, this is the sad part, even sadder part, frankly. It is all too eminently predictable. I mean, going back to 2021, this Biden operation, I mean, the entire withdrawal from Afghanistan was completely botched in the first place. Not the mere act of withdrawing. I actually was calling for the United States to withdraw for many years prior to that, but the manner in which it was done was just so extraordinarily chaotic. And then to have this program where you bring in, by some estimates, nearly 90,000, between 80 and 90,000 Afghans. Some of them were genuine interpreters who actually helped the United States Armed Forces during the 2 decades in Afghanistan there. But you are playing with fire every time that you bring in people from that culture that is that incredibly foreign. And clearly, whatever attempts at vetting the Biden administration may or may not have done, and count me in the camp that was, they were probably not giving much attention at all. Probably they were probably just opening the door. After all, they were literally letting in 5, 6, 7, 8 million by some estimates of illegal aliens there. So why are they going to bother to vet the legal ones there? So on the other hand, this is just so eminently predictable. And he apparently was shouted Allahu Akbar, which jihadists shout before they mow down innocent civilians. And it's just awful. It's just absolutely awful. And it is yet another wake-up moment for America's completely sclerotic and upside-down, backwards immigration regime. Hopefully the Trump administration doubles down trying to rectify its predecessor's horrific mistakes.